Hi there, it's Kevin, and today I am going to play Grunts Contest Edition. It's a free print-and-play tactical combat game. It's very brief. It's got a board and a single sheet of rules. You need some extra components, some markers. I'm using some pennies and a couple of six-sided dice. Let's look at the rules. Deployment and orders. To set up, all you need to do is print the game out. The mission on one side and the rules on the other. Obviously, I've used two sheets instead of just the one. Place your coins on rally point 10, each coin representing a squad of soldiers. Set 1d6 on the turn timer with the 6 facing up. There we go. To choose the mission difficulty, select your starting coins accordingly. Easy equals 6, medium equals 5, and hard equals 4. I'm starting with 6 this time. Now the deployment phase begins. You may roll 1d6 for each squad on a rally point in turn, matching the result of the roll to the deployment roll value of a box or panel on the same roll called a front. So this is a rally point, and that's a front that the squads will be deployed to. The squad must then be deployed to that panel. Once you have deployed a squad to a panel, your tactical options start to open up. If the panel is a forced action, then the action instructions must be carried out straight away before any other squad is deployed. If the panel is an action, then you have 4 options to choose from. 1. Carry out the action instruction and move the squad to the exhausted panel at the end of the front. That's not always true. Some of the actions are redeployment actions, and you don't then move the squad immediately to the exhausted panel. You redeploy it. The squad may launch an assault using the assault strength of their panel to move to a new rally point, so long as the assault strength is equal to or greater than the number of the rally point. Any number of squads from any front may combine assault strength in an assault. All assaulting squads are moved to the new rally point and may continue to deploy to the new front this turn. 3. The squad may hold on the panel until you choose to use it. 4. The squad may be exhausted to await deployment next turn. You may also decide not to deploy a squad and keep it on its rally point. I'm not sure why you would do that, but I guess you can. Once you have exhausted and deployed all the squads you wish this turn, the final phase of the turn begins. The rally phase prepares the way for the next turn. All exhausted squads must be moved to the rally point of their front. Deployed squads holding panels may be moved to their front's rally point. And finally, the turn timer value is reduced by 1. If a rally phase ends without at least one squad on at least one rally point, or the turn timer drops below 1, then the game is lost. Actions overrule rules at all times. For example, if a squad is pinned, it is stuck on that panel until it is unpinned by another action, such as that of covering fire or fire mission. Well, those are the rules. Let's see how it plays. We'll start deploying. That's a 5. That moves it to here. That panel has an action of exhaust one pinned squad. There aren't any pinned squads, so I will just hold there. That's a 1. This has a forced action of exhaust squad immediately. So this squad immediately goes into the exhausted box on that front. There's a 6. That's the same thing as a 5 on this front. Exhaust one pin squad or hold. That squad's going to hold for now. And a 4. Deploy to. This has an action of deploy to above front. I'm going to take that action. This is what I was talking about before, where a redeploy occurs. That's a 3. This has a forced action of deploy squad to lowest front, so we have a little bit of a ping-pong situation going here. So we redeploy to the lowest front, we get a 6. Once again, no pinned squads, hold on there for an assault strength of 5. We now have a total assault strength of 15, not enough to assault anything, but now there's a 6. We now have a total assault strength of 20 between these 4 squads. We will assault rally point 20, but continue to deploy on rally point 10. That's a 4. Once again, that has an action of deploy to above front. We're now deploying from rally point 20. Unfortunately, that 1 gives us a forced action. Squad is pinned. So they will remain there until somebody gets an action that is an unpin action. Next, that is a 5. That deploys to here. Action, double current assault strength of each squad on covering fire, which is this square right here, this turn. I will just hold on that square. We now have a total assault strength of 15. Oh my, and that's a 4. This says, action, deploy to any front with -1 to roll. It also has an assault strength here of 20, giving us a total assault strength of 35. I think I am going to use that action, deploy to any front with -1 to roll, and I'm going to deploy to the top front. If I get a 6, with the -1 that gives me a 5, and that will bring me to the bunker, and I will win the game. So a roll of 6 here wins the game. Anything else is bad for me. Unfortunately, that's bad for me. That's a 4, which becomes a 3. Forced action on this panel. Squad is pinned, -1 to all deployment rolls for each squad. We still have one more squad to deploy from rally point 20. We have to remember we're at -1 to this roll, and we get a 5, which becomes a 4. Another deploy to any front with -1 to roll. I think what I'm going to do is end this turn. I'm going to leave, well, I'm required to leave the pinned squads on their panels. I'm going to leave these 2 on their panels, and I am going to move these 2 back to their rally point and reduce the turn timer. That's a 2. That's a forced action of exhaust squad immediately. It becomes a 1 because of that squad. There's a 1, which is the same thing. Exhaust squad immediately. Anything less than 1 is just a 1. And yes, I think I'm going to move back to rally point and drop down to 4. What I'm really trying to do is get a 6 so that I can exhaust that squad. There's a 1, exhaust squad immediately. I seem to roll a lot of 1s and 2s when playing this game. There's a 6. That's what I wanted. So, exhaust 1 pinned squad. This squad becomes exhausted. This squad becomes exhausted because it performed its action. And we move exhausted squads back to rally points. And we reduce the turn timer to 3. There's another 1, exhaust squad immediately. There's a 4, deploy to above front as our action. I will take that action, and unfortunately roll a 1, squad is pinned. Now a 5 or 6 will win the game. Moving from rally point 60 here. Unfortunately what I got was a 1. Forced action, squad destroyed, remove from play. Well, you're dead. So, our turn timer goes down to 2 as our 1 squad here goes back to 10. Rally point 10. Hoping for something good, either unpinning one of these 2 squads, a deploy to above front, even this would give us a total assault strength of 40, and we could move to the rally point 40. Ooh, that went behind there, but it was a 1, which is exhaust squad immediately. It looks like we're going to be losing. Now exhausting pinned squads does not help us. So what I really want is to deploy to above front or to get that assault strength of 10. This might be our last roll here. And that's a 4. That's one of the things I was hoping for. Deploy to above front. Squad is pinned. We don't have anybody to exhaust. Well, we're at our final turn, so the game is over and I've lost. That didn't take too long. Why don't I try another game of it? See if we can win this time. There we go. Start turn timer on 6. 6 squads. 2. Exhaust squad immediately. I won't even land on the panel. 2. See what I mean? A lot of 1s and 2s. And those are very bad in this game. A 2. A 1. I might go through a whole turn exhausting all my squads immediately. That's a 2. A 2, yes. I managed to do it a whole turn where I exhausted my squads and they didn't do anything. Timer goes down to 5. 4. Deploy to above front. I am taking that action. A 2. Squad is pinned. A 4. And I'm getting wild with the dice. Deploy to above front. I take the action. A 5. The action of double current assault strength of each squad on covering fire this turn. I won't take that action. I'm holding. Another 1 for an exhausted squad. A 4. Deploy to above front. 2. Squad is pinned. 3. Either an action of reroll last deployment roll or hold for an assault strength of 10. Or what I will do is I will take the assault strength of 10 here and the assault strength of 10 there, and I will deploy to rally point 20. Now our last squad on rally point 10 gets a 1 and is exhausted immediately, because that's all I'm ever going to get. Deploying from rally point 20, that's a 3. Deploy squad, forced action of deploy squad to lowest front. And I get assault strength 10 or reroll last deployment roll. I'm going to hold for that assault strength. Last squad to deploy is a 5. I'm going to use that assault strength of 10 and that assault strength of 10 to, once again, assault rally point 20. Ooh. That's a 4, which is deploy to any front with -1 to roll. This hasn't worked for us so far, but I am going to use it again. If I roll a 6, I win. And I rolled a 3, which becomes a 2 when deploying from there. Squad destroyed, remove from play. Last squad to deploy from rally point 20 is another 4. I will try to deploy to the rally point 60 front once again, and I get a 1, which squad destroyed, remove from play. Take the exhausted squads, move them back to their rally point, drop the turn timer down 1. That's a 2, exhausted immediately. That's a 1, exhausted immediately. Move them back. Drop the turn timer down to 3. I get a 6. Exhaust 1 pinned squad. I will take that action. So the squad that took the action is exhausted, and the 1 pinned squad from there is exhausted. From rally point 10 now, I get a 3. And I will hold there. Move the exhausted squads back to their rally points. Drop the turn timer down to 2. A 6. Exhaust one pinned squad. I will do that. For morality point 20. A 1. Squad is pinned. Well, move back, drop the turn timer down to 1. Things are looking grim. Oh, that one's cocked. That's a 1. Exhaust squad immediately. And 5. Assault strength total of 20. We move on to rally point 20. Another 5. And a 3. Deploy squad to lowest front. Which gives us a 6. Exhausting a pinned squad doesn't do us any good on the final turn. And we don't have, well, we do have enough assault strength. We have 15 to move to rally point 10. A 2. Exhaust squad immediately. A 6. Exhaust one pinned squad, which, as I said, doesn't do anything. And now we don't have enough assault strength to do anything. The game is over. And we've lost again. Well, that's Grunts. I have played this in 1 before. The way to do it seems to be to use this deploy to any front with -1 to roll to deploy to this front, which is why I tried it repeatedly. 5-1 against odds, but it's still a possibility. And then if you do get pinned and exhausted, you then have a 2-1 against to win the game. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you liked this video, please click the like button, leave a comment, share this video with your friends, and subscribe to my channel for more videos like it. If you didn't like the video, click the dislike button and leave a comment letting me know what you didn't like about it. Thanks for watching.